This episode of Commish Chat is brought to you by Napper, the official ball and equipment sponsor of the National Ball Hockey League. Whether you're ripping clappers from the blue line or dangling through defenders, Napper has the sticks, gloves, and protective gear to take your game to the next level. Designed for ball hockey players by ball hockey players, Napper delivers unmatched durability, performance, and style on the court. Don't settle for less. Gear up with Napper and own the game. Visit napper.com to check out their latest lineups. Now, back to the show.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the NBHL Commish Chat Podcast. I'm NBHL Commissioner Anthony Sanrocco, joined by TJ Janus and Gianni Sanrocco as we take you through everything that's been going on for the past, 4 or 5 weeks. We've been going to these in forever.
It's been a while.
Been a little busy with some stuff. The Elite Draft specifically, we'll get into it later, but how we been, boys? How we been?
Been good. Yeah, I know it's been a while since we did a podcast. Was away for work. I think the week that we were supposed to do a podcast, so then that set us back like another 2 weeks because then we had Elite Draft. So here we are, getting it done.
Yep, back. How we doing, Jay?
Yeah, it feels, we had a lot going on, but this past week, leading up to when we were recording this, we kind of had a little bit of a break between no game of the week, Memorial Day weekend, not a lot of games. So it was nice to have a little bit of a mid-season catch-up week, honestly.
Yeah, because I was looking ahead to June. Next week in June, we have about 100, 105 games. And the week after that, we have like 120, 125, which will be our biggest weekend we've ever had.
That'll be fun.
That week is going to be chaotic. So please, the second weekend of June, don't be an asshole. Like, we're going to have so many suspensions. Don't be one of them because it's going to be a lot. It's just going to be a lot that week. So, if you do it, we're going to come down quickly on you, and it's going to be a pretty quick decision, and we're just going to move forward. But, and yeah, if you do something sick that weekend, you got to let us know like immediately on Monday, because we're going to have 125 games. Say we average like 6 to 7 goals a game. We're looking at like, I don't know,
6,000 goals?
Yeah, somewhere between 5,000 and 10,000 goals if I'm doing my math right.
Somewhere between there, yeah.
It's a lot of.
But realistically, it's like probably like 700 goals we could have that weekend if things, depending on how things go. So if you do something cool, we got to know right away so we know to prioritize it. So let us know. A couple quick hits here. Club championships a couple weeks ago in Pittsburgh. For those of you who are not aware, that's a men's A tournament, not an NBHL event. It is basically you take the tier ones and you condense them into, 5 or 6 teams. They all play in a tournament for a weekend in Pittsburgh. And we had some Canadian friends join us, Brampton Midnight Express, and they did what they do.
Yeah, well, it went undefeated, right?
Yeah.
A couple, I think a shootout or two mixed in there, but we played against them on Saturday, and that team, they do it all. They pass, they shoot, they play really smart hockey. Those guys are incredible. They're everything that they're advertised.
I was on Night's Watch, and when we played them, it was the game that I personally felt best in because I am not fast. So when I played like the gods, those guys were blowing by me for goals. Whereas that Brampton team, like they play like almost like soccer, where they like work the ball into the zone. They just possess. They don't forecheck too hard. When they do forecheck, they forecheck very effectively, but like they are more patient and like they slow the game down to their own pace. And we lost, but like, I don't know. They just play a totally different style. Like Canadians play a totally different style of ball hockey than Americans do, at least from what I've seen.
Yeah, it felt like our game for the Warriors against them, it felt like we had a lead at one point, but we felt like we were playing their game, like they were playing the game how they wanted to, and we took it to them for the first 19 minutes and 52 seconds. And then after that, they just kind of took over. And once they got a foothold, they just firing away.
Yeah, they're good. So congrats to them. We'll get into this later too, but we did just announce we're going to have NBHL in Niagara next year. So we're hoping to get them in there in some form. Obviously, that full roster will not be able to enter, but they'll have to, split across a couple teams like all the men's A teams do. But cool to see them come down to the States for a tournament. And, you hear about them from Canadian players and teams up there, and they lived up to the reputation for sure.
That was going to be my question. Have they been coming to clubs? Not really, right?
They came a couple of years ago, I think. I remember there was another like marquee Friday night game where Gods and Midnight played,
Gotcha.
I believe. But I don't think they've been to any other one since.
Yeah. But yeah,
keep bringing them down.
They were good. They were fun to watch.
Or, you know what? I might be mixing them with Red Light. I think it was Red Light that came a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Because
that was when Burroughs was there.
That's when Burroughs was there.
I'm sure they'll be back to defend their club championship.
Yeah. Yeah. But shout out Corey Hirsch, USA Ball Hockey, putting on a great show. Did an awesome job. Yeah, club's great time. My first time there in a couple years. Unrelated to clubs, online store. It's out. It's here finally in a normal, timely manner this year. I think last year we didn't get it out till late June. I don't even know. It was way too late. We just didn't get a hold on things, but got some items for each individual teams. We've got a lot of stuff for our elite teams. We're hoping everybody's kind of deciding what team they're going to root for there. But, last year for the individual teams, we just had like a plain logo shirt. This year we kind of have like a, so-and-so ball hockey with their logo on it. It looks a lot better. Shout out to Strive for designing those.
It's nice because I need some new gear for the Mariners. I told Megan, I was like, hey, my closet's about to fill up a lot more because I have a whole new team's worth of stuff I got to get now. I haven't had
God damn it.
I haven't had like a legitimate like new team in a while. So I got to stock up. So I'm excited for the store to come out. I will be buying things on the store, and you should buy things on the store too.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I need some new NBHL stuff, like 100%.
The one thing you're not going to see on there yet, but is coming soon, are NBHL logo hats. We're just waiting for them to get to us. We've got a big shipment coming to the office that we'll be adding to the store and shipping out once we have them. But just your plain black trucker hat, NBHL logo, those will be coming hopefully mid-June, late June. It'll be somewhere around there. But when you go to the Elite Weekend, you come to our Nationals, you're going to see them for sale there, and then also be online. But yeah, online store, it's live.
Yeah,
and
pick your elite team, buy a shirt, become a fan.
Yep. And then outside the NBHL, we've got upcoming in a couple weeks, just get on people's minds, are the Junior World Championships. So in Czechia, we've got the U23 and U16 boys teams competing from June 25th to June 29th. And then July 2nd to 6th in Slovakia, we've got the U20 men's and women's teams competing. So a lot of young players across the NBHL. We'll have some graphics out with those rosters showing their NBHL teams, things like that. But those players, go try to win a gold medal. I don't think U.S. has won a gold in juniors in a long time.
No, and they've had some really talented teams that have gone over and played that just couldn't get over the hump a couple of times. So hopefully one of these teams that are going, I've seen these rosters, they all look very talented. They should be competing for gold.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But, it's hockey, you never know.
Just got to ride off that momentum of the women's gold.
Yep. Yeah, so if you follow USA Ball Hockey, they're going to give you updates on when the games are, where you can watch them, how to get the live streams, things like that. But, support our players, watch that tournament. It'll be a lot of fun. The ISBHF does a great job just with that event, promoting it and, showcasing those players. So will definitely be fun. And then I've gotten a couple of texts over the past few weeks when the NBHL championships are going to be. It's September 19th to 21st. They'll be in Blackwood, New Jersey at the Marge Martin Sports Complex where we had them last year. It'll be split between there and the West Deptford rinks. We'll be using the off-site rinks a little bit more than we did in the past.
It's a lot of games, yeah.
Yeah. So NBHL championships will be a little different this year in that not everybody will make the playoffs as it has been in the past. So those round robin games will have a little bit more weight to them. But yeah, September 19th to 21st. That's the time.
Run it
where
back.
Everybody's meeting. Yep. And we got everybody together this year. We got Tier 1 back with everyone. We've got the legends there as well. So it's going to be a packed weekend.
Yeah.
Please, no rain.
Yeah, we got lucky last year with my incredible rain prediction.
It was impressive.
So we're just going to have to hope for that same level of luck, especially now that we're spreading ourselves across that second rink as well. There's, I feel like, less margin for like delays or anything getting backed up, So just the nature of outdoor sports.
Yep.
Yes.
And so with that, we'll get to suspensions. I didn't put the numbers in the outline so you guys could guess how many players you think we've suspended and how many games you think we've suspended them for collectively so far.
We've had 10 weeks of games. I'm going to go like 75 suspensions for, I'm going to say like 200 games.
I'm going to say 40 for 120 games.
No. We're actually down suspensions from last year. We've had 30 suspensions for 61 games so far.
Wow. I was in the ballpark.
So
look at
40.
Hopefully that does not jinx everything. Because I feel like I probably just did. But like, there's been a lot of plays we've reviewed. Like, it's not like reviews are down, but the actual number of players being suspended for things is not as high. But
and I don't necessarily think that having more reviews is a bad thing either. You know, like, it's okay to look at plays and determine if they're questionable or not. And I think the fact that we're getting more of those is a good thing, because sometimes people might not have submitted them in the past.
Yeah. So if you are submitting plays for us to review, we do want you to keep doing that, because I love not giving someone games for suspension, but like, it's good to review, and it's good to let people know that your play is at the level of needing a review. It's like, hey, you're, right at the line here if you're not getting games.
And if anything else, it just helps the refs, talk about it, learn, and, helps the process moving forward 100%. So,
yeah. So 61 games so far, typical offenses that we've suspended for in the past: abusive official, butt ending, cross-checking, head contact, homophobic slurs, leaving the bench during an altercation. Obscene gestures has been on the rise this year. That's one we haven't suspended for a lot. We've had a few of those this year. Slew footing, spearing, the stuff that you just shouldn't do.
Yeah, the emotional reaction.
Yeah,
suspensions here.
Especially the leaving the bench during altercation. There's no reason for it. Just don't do it. I know some things happen on the rink and like you're in the middle of a play, but if you're leaving the bench during altercation, that's like an active choice that you're making,
And the argument that a couple people have made to us is, I was in the middle of a line change, or the whistle ended for the game and I just ran into the altercation. Like, if that altercation is happening, you are not allowed to enter that happening. Like, doesn't matter if your midline change, doesn't matter if the game is ended and you've stepped on the rink. Like, if you see an altercation happening, you cannot run into it if you are not on the rink. Like, it's black and white. And we've had people argue like I shouldn't be suspended because for this and this and this. And it's like, if you did this, it's pretty much our simplest thing we suspend someone for. Like, you can't even really argue it.
You're just making everything worse once you
just
get
don't
involved
leave the bench.
in anything.
Yeah, just don't. All right, now getting into some bigger things here. So first, let's talk about the Elite Draft, because that was quite the production.
Yes.
In terms of prep work and the actual setup. Do you guys want to talk through some of the stuff you did? I'll talk through some stuff I did too, but just curious how you guys feel it went, and just...
Yeah, I think right off the bat, overall, I think it went really well. There was a lot of things that we did, with the Elite Draft production. It was stuff that we learned from Monday Night Ball Hockey last year. For those of you who maybe didn't follow Monday Night Ball Hockey, didn't go too hot.
Yeah, not a complete failure. We did learn from it.
And the things that I feel like we did good with Monday Night Ball Hockey was the production side of things. So that's a lot that we were able to carry over to this. There was maybe an asset or two that was used from Monday Night Ball Hockey that we carried over. So we were able to reuse some of that. But, getting everything set up to my right here, we have our battle station. I like to call it, where we have, the computer that controls everything. We have an Elgato Stream Deck that helps us like customize some buttons for some of those actions that you saw. And I guess it was all week preparing after work for the men's draft, because that was the first one. Putting in player animations and video animations and transitions and getting the backgrounds ready. And then spent all day the following day kind of turning that over for the women's. A little bit easier doing it for the women's because I could just kind of swap things instead of having to build it up from scratch like you did for the men's. I could just swap in the women's graphics and players and information instead. And then there was also the element of having to do stuff kind of live, right? Because the draft happened at 7:00, and there was some information from that draft that we then had to get ready for the 9:30 live stream. So a really good job from the whole team here, getting everything prepped, getting the information over to us, getting the graphics ready, and kind of managing the stream as it went. A couple of hiccups, I think, on the men's side early on. Some of you might have noticed some production errors there, some graphics firing too early, or some things showing up in places they shouldn't.
Some lack of attention span at one point for me.
Yeah. But it was nice because we were able to clean that up for the women's draft, and I think that we had a perfect game for the women's.
Nailed it.
Yeah, I had some people ask me, like, why are we not doing the whole draft? Why are we not doing this for everybody? And I don't think people realize the amount of prep work that had to go into the highlight reels for the players and the graphics for the stream. Because the graphics for the stream alone was a ton of work.
Yeah.
That was a lot. It took a lot of time, making sure the designs were right, then replicating them for men's and women's, making graphics for each individual team, making sure the fonts lined up, making sure our live graphics lined up on the right side. But then there's the aspect of making the highlight reels for the players, because we had to get a motion graphic created. Then we had to find a picture of every player. We had to cut them out of that picture, cut the background out. Then we had to add them into the motion graphic. In the motion graphic, we had to add the player's data. Then we took that motion graphic, we would export that. Then we would have to find highlights of every player, which took forever.
Yeah, it's tough.
Our highlights are more organized this year than they've been in the past.
Yeah, I think going forward is going to be a much easier task, but
it was just finding goals from players. Like, I was downloading highlights from 2021 and 2023. And the other thing is, you can't just do the top 8 picks because the draft is at 7 and we're going live at 9:30. So we don't have time between there to put these reels together, these videos together. So we had to, before this draft for men's and women's, we had about 15 to 20 players we had highlight reels cut for, because we didn't know who was going to go top 8. So between the drafts ending, they go from 7 to like 8:30. We basically have an hour from 8:30 to 9:30 to basically produce the graphics with the rosters, produce all the graphics for the top players, and get the highlights lined up and teed up into our programming. So it was a lot of work. I think all things considered, I think we did as well as we really could have done.
Yeah,
I'm pretty happy with everything. I think our biggest hiccups were on the men's side. I think the women's one was super smooth.
Women's, I think, was perfect. We learned a lot that first night on the men's side, and there was just a couple of things that just we couldn't figure out until we were doing it live. For the most part, it was like something would happen when you're going through the final run, and then we figured it out and got it right for the next time.
Like for me, like, I'm announcing the picks, but the part that we messed up is I couldn't hear what any of the analysts were saying. So I just was watching the screen, and it's like a small in the top right corner, you can see what's happening. And for a second, I just looked away, I guess. And that was, of course, the second where they pushed it over to me.
Yeah, looking back, I think I should have been in here listening and queuing you up to make the pick or whatever. But I was so concerned about it sounding right or whatever that, we wanted to be able to hear. But yeah, I mean, overall, you guys killed it. Gianni does magic behind the board and, all the prep work Ant did. But I think the funny thing was right before we're going live for the women's draft, we're like, all right, let's do it. And we're like trying to hit the go live button, and like our wrong account is connected to the software.
For the men's draft, you mean, right?
For the first night of the men's draft.
Men's, I'm sorry. Yeah. For the men's, the first draft. And we're like, oh shit. And like, we're just like, what do we do? And then figured it out. But I don't know, we got up by like 9:35 or something like that. But
it was just so funny because we did so much prep. Like, we did 2 practice runs. Like, we were ready to go. And then all of a sudden it's like, all right, let's go live. It's like, wait, we're not connected to YouTube.
We're just like logging in and out of accounts, getting codes to verify whatever.
It's
like, figure it out.
I'm like checking off things on my email, like doing verification codes, hitting numbers. I'm like, oh my God, guys, like, come on.
But then, the women's went very smooth. Colleen killed it. I love the thing we posted today
of her picking herself. That was a good one.
Herself, whoever made that.
That was Sienna.
That was unreal. I was cracking up. So great work from the team. But yeah,
a lot of work that went into it. Thanks for everybody who tuned in. We got a lot of people watching those live. For those of you who weren't drafted, we're sorry. We appreciate you signing up and, looking to be a part of it. And I'm not going to say anything here, but we do have some ideas on making that happen less in the future. But as we get into the off season and stuff, you'll hear more about that. But so if you weren't drafted, again, we're sorry. If your refund did not get to you yet, it's coming. We put them all in. So it just takes
I was going to ask you that after this. Cool.
All right.
I got a long bookkeeping night ahead of me.
Yeah, that's going to suck for you. But shout out to our first overall picks for men's for the Mariners was Nick Carter. I don't think too much of a surprise. I mean, there's a handful of names that you had in the conversation, but Nick is that he's a captain. He's a leader for your team. He's one of the best defensemen I've ever seen play the sport. He's just an overall stud. Yeah. Like he's who you want being the franchise player.
I'm excited to play behind Nick again. I haven't played with him since Chicklets Cup.
When? Oh, that's right, Chicklets.
Yeah, and that's not exactly a true ball hockey setting, you know.
Yeah, how's it feel as a goalie having all these players in front of you that have just been absolutely embarrassing you for years?
Yeah. It's nice. It's nice to like play in front of some different or behind some different faces. You know, like I play with the same Tortugas or Garden State guys all the time. So it's nice to play with some new people and get a better look at how they operate. And then also I get to play against some people that I normally play with. I feel like operating with familiarity with some of these players helps me as a goalie. Like I know what they want to do. It helps you anticipate the play a little more. So some of those teams with some of those jerseys guys, hopefully I can perform well in.
Yeah. Yeah. So Carter's the first pick it just made so much sense. I mean, 3 of the first 4 picks were Cleghorn Crooks.
Yeah. Mass went big.
Yeah. With Dutney going second, Corey Wilson going third, and then Andrew Carter, the first goalie off the board at number 4. Carter is just so good. And then women's, we had Becky Dobson go number 1. She's just
I don't think a surprise for anyone there.
Yeah. No. Her highlight reel was really fun to make.
I forget where, I think the caption we wrote, it was just like Becky Dobson just runs over players or something like that. I was reading it out loud and I was like, this sounds insane, but it's the truth. Like just, dominant, honestly.
Yeah. Her highlight reel could have been another minute or 2 long, I think, with just all the highlights. She was very easy to find highlights for. We got Commish Murphy going second overall when she announced her pick. I know we just talked about that. That was so funny. I was dying laughing. And then, the women's draft, again, it went so smooth. Like it was tough to narrow down who to make highlight reels for women's because there was such a wide array of players that the GMs were like, I'm thinking of this person in the first round. Because I text them all individually. I'm like, hey, who are you thinking about? Just so I can prep stuff. And everyone had different. There was some that were the same, but there's also like a lot of variants when you got to the back half of that first round. I was like, okay, I got to make a lot of these. Yeah. So we got to figure out a way to use all those highlight reels.
Make sure those are saved.
Yeah, I got them. We're gonna use them somehow.
Got to start a database of just players, like individual player highlights.
Yeah, and then shout out to our analysts here too.
Yeah.
Declan for leading the charge.
Declan Moffat.
Yeah, Declan Moffat, nerves of steel. Guy was awesome. He was just great.
He's the perfect center man for that panel to kind of steer the conversation. And, you saw Tim Ryan and Matt Strybeck on there. Also great analyst. Timmy was super nervous, but he did great.
Yeah.
We're proud of him.
Michaela Walsh for women, she did an amazing job. And I know for almost everyone here, this was a first for them.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think Tim had any idea what he was getting into when I texted him about doing this. I think maybe I sent him the script the day of, and he was probably like, "Oh shit,
yeah,
I got to take this serious."
But now he has a post playing career.
He's an analyst. Yeah. I thought one of the funnier things Declan did that was super under the radar was when we started the women's stream. He's sitting in the middle, and Tim made his introduction and Declan turned and faced him. And then Michaela made her introduction and he turned and faced her. But
they must have,
obviously they're not together. So
they must have coordinated that in a text group without us or something. We weren't ready for it.
Yeah, but between Timmy, Declan, Strive, Michaela, they all crushed it. They wore the blazers. If anyone noticed, we did not ask them to do that. They all chose to wear blazers.
Very loose requirements. Yeah.
I know Timmy was definitely. He was in office feeling a little nervous. I know he drank a few beers before he went on just to loosen up.
I think everyone on night 2 was like, "All right, we got this." I've been through this, so yeah, it was exciting. They were excited to do it, so it was good.
And I think it's something that we could definitely have more of.
Yeah.
I think that's something that we are kind of lacking in the NBHL right now is analysts who are really talking about an in-depth look at players and teams and plays and having that knowledge. So maybe we can revisit that crew for some future content.
And even like we put out mock drafts prior to the actual drafts. And I know that all of them kind of struggled with it because they all know these players. And like, you know, how do I rank my friends? I know some people like gave them some shit for it too.
Yeah.
Like they text them like, yo, what the hell? And it's like, you know,
Rightfully so.
it's they all, I commend them for doing, because it's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
And they really did like put a lot of thought and effort into it and really tried to remove any biases that they had when they did them. So I thought they did a great job with that. But the teams came out amazing. For the men's, I got some numbers from the club's championships to kind of compare. So at clubs, the highest cap using our NBHL salary cap for a team was 88.7, which was the Warriors. Warriors, Gods, Arsenal were like 88, 88, 86. They're all like right there. The average cap amongst the American teams was 80.37. So in men's elite, our highest cap is 79.4 in the Mariners. The average cap amongst the teams is 76.8. So at clubs, the highest team cap is higher. The average cap is higher. But if you were to break it down to average cap per player, because in clubs, they had 21 to 22 players for roster, and in elite, we have 20 to 21 players for roster. The club's average cap per player was 3.69, whereas men's elite, the average cap per player is 3.70. Wow. So pretty close.
Yeah. You don't want to round that to 3.7 for both of them. Make it seem exact.
We got to be accurate here.
But yeah, I mean, obviously everyone's just looking forward to see the mix of players, you know, playing with and against each other. I mean, we got a taste of it last year for women's elite. So, you know, to see the men's this year, I'm super excited to see how these teams perform and, you know, just kind of see how they not only perform, but how they gel together with all these different, you know, players from different divisions and stuff. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah. I mean, we're not, you know, men's A is an incredible level of hockey, but for our first year for men's elite to be, you know, pretty comparable in skill level is we're really happy with that. So we appreciate the players who registered. And I mean, looking at all four teams, I have no idea who's going to win. It's cool.
I know who's going to win. Mariners. Well, easy by 1 million.
Yeah, well,
is that what they're saying? Mariners by 1 million?
That's what I hear.
That's what you hear.
That's the word on the street. And for the players who didn't sign up, hopefully you have some FOMO. Sign up next year.
Yeah, it's gonna be really cool. We got some stuff planned that it's gonna be a lot of fun. This elite thing. We're excited to just be able to showcase these players because, you know, men's obviously we just talked about the amount of skill there, and women's. Last year we had 7 of the 25 players on the women's national team register to play elite. This year, we have 20 of the 25. And Lisa Kilroy is GMing a team. She can't play. But so big upswing in number of national team players. We're really excited. We've got, you know, more Canadian players than we've ever had. Than we had last year. But like just to see people from like Western Canada that are willing to fly in and be a part of this is incredible. Honestly, it's amazing. So this women's level of elite, we're really excited to watch it this year because it was amazing last year. It's hard to imagine it being a higher skill level, but based on the national team presence, you got to imagine it's taken a step up here. And giving Colleen Murphy as much credit as we possibly can. She did an amazing job recruiting, talking to people, explaining it, and really getting people to embrace this because I thought last year things went great and Colleen came in. She's like, I want to do a couple things differently. And she's made a difference for sure. And has been a huge asset, a huge part of this. So shout out to Murph.
Shout out Murph.
Number 2 pick. But yeah, so elite, you're going to hear a lot about it. We're going to be pushing it a lot on social because it's really something we're trying to, you know, unite the sport behind essentially, you know. We want everybody to pick a team, become a fan. Like, we want people rooting for teams and taking an interest in this. And we think that we've built, or the GMs have built, teams that are worth watching and worth rooting for. Like, these teams are going to be insane. You got people blended from all over the country playing together, so it's going to be fun. Elite, any last words?
No.
Nothing?
Go Mariners.
Go.
You guys gotta root for other teams. So you can't be a full Mariners cast over here.
Yeah, how am I
I'll
going
have to think about it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna put you on the spot. You don't gotta pick now, but
I'm
you gotta
all in
pick a
on the
different one.
Angels always, but I haven't picked my men's team yet.
Yeah, I was a big Novas guy last year, so I guess I have to switch over to the Orcas now, right? My sister team.
Yeah. Yeah, you're an Orcas fan.
Yeah.
Front runner.
Yeah.
Does that make me go with Apollo? We'll see.
Sorry, Novas.
Yeah. So like we said, it's been a while since we've done one of these, so we're not going to go division by division, because I mean,
there's a lot.
We'd be here all night.
We'd be here till
Yeah, I got a game at 7:30.
We should do a marathon episode one day where we just keep going until we can't anymore.
I don't think anyone would watch that. I think
it could be our most watched.
I think the market for that is non-existent.
People barely watch.
I bet you there's
30-minute
one
episode.
dude who would be absolutely psyched for that. We would really hit that one target market that really wants that.
Yeah, I guess.
Everyone else though, we'd have consistent like 2 viewers the whole time.
But we're gonna go through the power rankings. So the power rankings, at the time of you hearing this, will have already come out. They have not come out live for us as we are recording this right now. But basically, tier 1, 2, 3 women's legends all get a power rankings. Tier 2 and 3 get a top 25. Tier 1 women's and legends get a top 10. Basically, the directors of the divisions rank all the teams on a scale from 1 to 100. We average it all together, and then power rankings come out of that. So, tier 1, top 10. There are 18 teams in tier 1. The number 1 seed right now is the Cleghorn Crooks. The Crooks are hot right now.
Makes sense. They had the 3 top picks in the elite draft, or 3 of the top picks in the elite draft.
Yeah. And I mean, they lost their first game 3-2. Since then, they are 3-0 and have outscored teams 12-3. Brandon Jones, the 7th pick in the elite draft, has 5 goals this year, leads the team. Corey Wilson, Corey Fredrickson both lead the team in points with 6. They're both, were top picks in the elite draft as well. So they're just a squad. They're just a squad. They're really good. Last year, they did not have a good regular season. I think they went 4-6 or 5-5 when they were the Stars. This year, it doesn't look like they're following that same path. It looks like they're showing up.
The Crooks are back.
Yep, they're playing well. Number 2 in the power ranks, we've got the Brighton Heights Renegades, who only have had their opening week. They start a little bit later. They always request to not start off the bat because they've got a lot of kids that are in college, whether they're playing hockey or they're just away. So once we hit, some point in May, they're here. They're ready to go. So their opening weekend, they scored 13 goals across 2 games. You can see their 1 win over Imperium on our game of the week. They won 10-5. It was insane. So they're an offensive powerhouse, and they picked up Pat Bell in net, who's one of the best goalies in the sport. So they're a good team. They're going to be
they went deep last year at the championships. We'll see if they can keep that number 2 spot in the power rankings. Are we going to do another release?
Yeah, we'll do
another release.
We'll do it in June.
All right.
Because there are 2 games right now. They beat Militia, who's in 4th place in Pittsburgh, and Imperium, who's in 5th place. So they haven't played the 2 or 3 seeds yet, but this weekend coming up, or I guess at the time of this being released, so we'll have played them. So we'll have a better idea of if they are a number 2 team or if someone else
weighted
is.
that too much.
Yeah,
we'll find out.
And then number 3 seed in the top 10, and we're not going through all of them. We're going to do the top 3 in each tier here, is Knights Watch, South Jersey Knights Watch. They lost 3-2 to the Caribou opening weekend. Since then, they've got 4 wins. They've had 2 shutouts. Blake Gray leads them in points. He's got 8. He's been fantastic. Mike Henry's a former MVP. He's got 6 points right now. They're just looking good. They beat us a couple weeks ago. It's a rough one. Took them to a shootout, but Knights Watch right back where they were last year. Won the championship in Jersey, and they're right at the top again.
Yeah, I mean they couldn't get there until last year, right? Knights Watch to the championships, and coming back this season, looking good. And It's kind of seen the swing in Jersey Tier 1. If you look at the standings, kind of over the last couple of years, you see the Hawks fall a little bit, and Night's Watch kind of comes up a bit. So you guys have moving up in the standings. So
shout out number 9 on the Tier 1 power ranking.
Couple snubs. I know the Dogs are probably just ripping to shreds the top 10 in their group chat, their Snapchat group chat that they have.
Former member of that group chat.
Yeah. But, we beat them. They beat us. They would have probably had our spot there. But
yeah.
And then the Top Guns are another one that was right on the cusp there in South Jersey. They were having a really good season. They just lost to the Dogs too. So those teams are right on the cusp of getting in there. But what's it called? Yeah, Tier 1, Crooks at the top spot. Tier 2, we've got 56 teams in Tier 2. We got a top 25 there. Number 1 spot, McKeesport Magic. They have one of the best logos in the league.
Yes.
I think easily the best logo in the league.
You think so?
Absolutely. It's a rabbit coming out of a hockey helmet.
Yeah, it's cool.
March Madness disagrees.
Yeah, they've never won.
Yeah.
They've actually never really made that far of a run, which is kind of surprising.
I just think it's not a flashy logo, I think the ones
like a
that
cute
win,
logo.
The ones that win March Madness are like they catch your eye, but it's just so clean. It's such a great concept. You gotta cut me off. I'll go on and on about the Magic logo.
Yeah. If the rabbit was holding a beer, they probably would have won at least once.
Right.
Like if it was
a garage beer,
or eating like a cheeseburger or something stupid. But they're 3-0. They've been a force. Heard a rumor their goal this year is just to go 10-0. They just want to go 10-0, which I guess is every team's goal, but they are setting out that was how they built their roster to go 10-0. Again, alleged. I heard from a very good source though.
NBHL leaks.
Yeah, and they're living up to what they wanted to do so far this year. They look really, really good.
And in a very competitive Pittsburgh division too. There's a lot of good teams there. So to go undefeated in that division,
there's no easy
takes
wins.
a lot of talent.
Yeah, there's no easy wins in that division. Number 2 spot, we've got Orlando Mutiny, who, picked up right where they left off last year. They looked really good their opening weekend. They had some dominant wins. They had one really tight game on their Sunday versus the Florida Red Roosters, which is a combination of the Tampa Bay Thunder, who won Florida Tier 3 last year, and the Atlanta Dirty Birds, who won Georgia Tier 3 last year. And then some players from the Miami Beach Boys who went to the finals of Florida Tier 2 last year. So all those 3 teams pretty much combined into one team. That's really, really good. They're also definitely in the top 25. They gave the Mutiny a 1-goal game in overtime. That was their tightest matchup of the weekend. But the Mutiny, they're fast, they're strong. They're just a very, very good squad down in Florida.
They've got a New Jersey transplant on that team, right?
They got a couple.
They've got, well, a recent New Jersey transplant, Thompson, right?
Oh yeah, Joel Thompson.
Yep. He was playing for the Chiefs last year and moved down to Florida and got picked up by the Mutiny.
Stefanelli playing there too? What team is
Stefanelli is on the Sunblazers. Sunblazers.
Yeah.
Yep.
This goes to show wherever you have to move to in the country, we can have some ball hockey for you. Don't feel like you have to leave the NBHL if you don't live in the same state as the team you've always played for.
If it doesn't exist there, we'll make it.
Yeah, you could be the guy that runs the division. Who knows?
Then number 3 seed in our Tier 2 top 25 is the West Coast Giants. Giving British Columbia some love here. They've kind of taken charge. They're 6-2 in that BC division, plus 16 goal differential. They look really good. They've got a few guys. There's this dude Tanner Ward who's just tearing it up for their team right now. He's putting up 3 or 4 points every single game at least.
And they already have 8 games played that division, so
they'll be our first division to finish. And that's what becomes the issue for them is can they get their whole team to Jersey?
Yeah.
And the answer is most likely not, but they can probably get a good amount of them.
That'll be a tall task.
Ooh, Giants.
Because they're Giants. Because they're Giants. Giants are tall. But they get the benefit of wrapping up a little bit early, so that can help them, plan their travel and make sure that they can get time off and whatnot. So hopefully that extra bit of time helps them get as many people as they can here.
Yeah, they wouldn't be the first British Columbia team to come to the NBHL championships if they win. Whoever wins from their division would be the second, because we had the Vancouver Viper Kings last year, and they came with half of their squad, and then they filled in with tier 3 players, and they had a pretty good run.
Yeah, I was going to say they played pretty good.
Yeah, they looked great.
And I think that the Viper Kings also maybe suffered a little bit from like travel fatigue too, because they were traveling to California every single time that they had to play.
True.
At least these teams in Vancouver, if they are coming to the NBHL championships, that's the only time that they have to travel for this all year. So that might help guys who maybe don't have to burn some time off to play during the regular season.
Hopefully they're all excited about the NBHL and they make it work.
Let's hope we get them out here. A couple snubs. The Norsemen in Mass Tier 2, defending champs, didn't crack the top 25. The Winchendon Ice, another team that's been really good. Billerica Ice.
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce that one.
Yeah.
I hope that was right.
Billerica. Yeah. Nope, I can't say it.
DM us. Tell us how you pronounce it.
Yeah. Delray Nordiques in DC Tier 2. South Jersey Avengers, who gave the Chiefs their only loss of the year.
Oh.
Really good squad. Philadelphia Code Red did not crack the top 25 after winning the Philly division last year. So there's some really good teams on the outside looking in, but the full rankings, I'm sure at this point there's been, a full encyclopedia of arguments in the comment section of just why teams are ranked incorrectly, because we've never got them right. We've never got the power rankings right. Not even been close.
We'll just post the standings like we usually do every week.
Power
we'll
rankings.
Just keep the
screenshots of the website standings. Yeah. Would you like that
power
better, people?
rankings?
Oh God. Tier 3 top 25. We've got 120 teams. So I want to preface this. When we drop the Tier 3 top 25, all of Tier 3 is going to be mad that they're not in there. We have 25 teams out of 120 getting in there. So if you're not a 4-1 or a 5-0 or pretty much at the tippy top of your standings, the odds of you getting in there are going to be tough.
You're not even in the conversation.
There's like 40 to 45 teams that like should be in this top 25, but that's impossible.
Yes,
because that would be a top 45.
Would be more than 25.
Wait, no.
We'll have the math guys check that one.
Yeah, we'll have to double check that. But it is 25 teams for now. Number 1 spot is the North Hills Reapers in Pittsburgh Tier 3. So Pittsburgh gets the 1 spot in Tier 2 and Tier 3.
Wow.
And the Reapers have won by mercy all 3 of their games so far. They've been a force. 27 goals for, 3 goals against. So you can see how they do this weekend and see if this streak is going to keep up here. Yeah. This team is looking
definitely deserving of the number 1 spot.
Yeah. Yeah. Number 2 spot, we've got the Raleigh Red Wolves. So they've got some players from the Raleigh Squall. They've got some players who played Tier 2 for the Raleigh Squall last year. We've got players who have won the Tier 3 Nationals with the Raleigh Squall a couple years ago. They're plus 19 goal differential so far. They've got 4 wins. And North Carolina has won Tier 3 2 out of the 3 years. So has won like the national championship 2 out of 3 years. So they're always putting up a really, really good squad here, and the Red Wolves are looking like the top dog right now. Look really good. Then the third Tier 3 team, number 3 spot, is the Piscataway Lumberjacks. They are the new defending champion division with the North Jersey Pirates, who won it last year. They're plus 25 goal differential. They're 7-0. But their thing is they have depth. Like, they have no players with more than 9 points in 7 games. So they're just kind of all around, just moving the ball around, everybody scoring points. So they're a strong, deep roster. And that North Jersey Tier 3 division is very strong, and they're looking very good.
Team effort.
Yep.
A lot of good hockey in Jersey. North, south, central, east, west, northeast, southeast. It's all over.
Yeah, I think that covers it.
I don't do Northwest.
We don't talk about that.
That was not a Kanye joke, by the way. That just was the one I forgot to mention.
A bunch of snubs like Queen City Squids, Bay Area B-Sides, who finally had their opening weekend in California. City Island Boogie, Rowan Ragnarok, Bloomfield Meatballs were pretty close. Okay. The New York Pigeons, your boys, Teej.
What's up, Pigeons?
Savage Ogapogos, the Queen City Realm in Carolina. Like, there's just so many teams that could have been in this top 25 that didn't get in there.
Pigeons probably would have made it, like, if we didn't have or if I didn't have a vendetta against them. But we're kidding.
They were actually number 1, and TJ had to boot them all the way off the list.
No, let's get them off right now. I love you, Pigeons.
But yeah, I could have rattled off another 20 teams there that could be deserving of their top 25, but Yeah, we got the Reapers up top there. And then women's. So women's, we've got 20 teams, so we're just doing a top 10 there. Number one has to go to the top team in Massachusetts. Back-to-back-to-back women's champions. And right now it's the Watauga Wild. 4-0, only 2 goals against. Sonia Shelley, their goalie, has been lights out in net. And then Carly LeBlanc for their team has 4 of their 6 goals. So they're just, I mean, that Mass women's division is, we talk about it every time we talk about them on the podcast. Yeah. Like the goaltending's great, the skill is great. And they're kind of, they're not lighting the lamp with a ton of goals, but they're doing what they have to do to win all these games. And 4-0 in that division is something to be very, very proud of. Just a great team.
Yeah, having one player having 4 of the 6 goals is wild. 66% of your goals being scored by one player. It's such a a low scoring division too. It's just that's a testament to Carly of getting all those goals in the net for her team, showing up when it matters.
And shout out Courtney Southgate, our women's mass director, one of the 2, with the other 2 goals. Not a big deal. Number 2 spot, we've got the Annapolis Ambush in Maryland women. So to give you an idea of the offensive output this team has, so right now they have 16 goals scored, and we're, I think 4 games into the season. Last year, only 2 of the 4 teams in what was called the DC Women's Division last year, only 2 of those 4 teams scored 16 goals all season, and the highest was 20. So they're almost certain to surpass that their next games, and they're just scoring a ton of goals.
Yeah, it's like
they're just an offensive
the
powerhouse.
name fits the output, the ambush.
Yeah, they ambush them.
Yeah.
The big contrast to that low scoring champions or not champions, but front runners in Massachusetts. They're winning a lot of tight, low scoring games, and this ambush is winning a lot of big goal scoring games.
Yeah, I think they had 7 the other last week, which was the highest I think we've ever seen in that Maryland women's division. They're just sniping. They're sniping. They look good. They've had some tight games. Like some teams have given them some really close battles, but they are definitely the top dog in Maryland. And then number 3 spot, we've got the Brookline Killer Bees. They've only allowed 1 goal in both of their games here. The reigning MVP, Pittsburgh Women's Jada Mears, she leads the team in points. She's a stud, just got drafted in Elite. I forget who she got drafted for. But for anyone that remembers what happened last year in Pittsburgh Women's, the standings came down to the last week of the season. So Brookline's in top right now. They've won 2 tight games, but those other teams are right there. So who knows how that's going to unfold? But right now they're looking good. They're looking really good. But then, there's definitely some more snubs in women's. The Bobcats in Jersey, the Looney Goons in Jersey, the Makos in Massachusetts. Jersey women's is like, there's not a clear-cut number 1 team right now. The top 4 teams are all 7 or 6 points, so they're pretty close together. So it's tough to kind of rank them at this point. But there's a lot of good teams in women's. I mean, in Mass, all 6 are, competitive every single game. So the women's rankings, I'm sure, will change from here. But right now, we got the Watauga Wild. The former women's champions, too. They won the first ever women's NBHL championship. So
great logo.
See if they can get back. Yes, very good logo. Then lastly, but certainly not least, we've got the Legends. 18 teams in Legends are doing a top 10. Number 1 spot right now, we've got the New Jersey Immortals. 4-0, 2 OT wins, which, I mean, all the teams are a bunch of vets, but these guys are pulling out these tight games, winning against, the Jersey Legends here, I think is balanced as it gets.
I've gotten to watch some of the New Jersey Legends games. We're a little busy on game day, but I have gotten to watch when I can, and all the teams look like they're good. They can all play. So being 4-0 in that division, makes you stand out.
Yeah, they look really good. They've got some players who can score. A couple of guys that are playing in tier, or at least one guy on their team's playing tier 2. I think his name is Dorian. He's a stud though.
Chris.
Yeah. Number 2 spot, we got the Bloomfield Muckers. Great name, named after Muck.
Oh yeah, I think we told that story, didn't we?
So they lead all the Legends here with 22 goals so far. That Pittsburgh Legends division is like 7 to 5 games, like every game, like the goals, like it's a lot of offense, and they are leading that offense right now. So they look really good. I don't believe they're undefeated though. I think it's a pretty, again, these draft divisions always end up pretty balanced here, and they're balanced with
They
everybody
have
right
one
now.
loss, yeah.
And then third spot, we've got the Buffalo Blitz. They are 3-1 in Buffalo Legends. They've got 21 goals plus 12 goal differential, and they're just showing up to the rink and doing their thing out in Buffalo. They're a good squad. I know they've got some guys traveling a pretty good distance to be here, so we appreciate that. And they're a team. They lost their first game, and they've won 3 straight. They kind of pretty much figured it out after that opening weekend. So, and there's 18 teams. Like the difference in these Legends division is we're still getting to know a lot of these teams. Yeah. Like underachievers in Buffalo look good. The Gray Knights, the Relics in Pittsburgh, and like we don't even have any of the Long Island teams ranked in these. I mean, the top 3, we have some in the top 10, but like it's tough to really rank them because we don't really know who they are yet. So
you're saying the underachievers didn't make the top 10?
The underachievers
are underachieving?
Yeah, they are living up to the name right now.
We'll see if that continues.
Yeah,
I love the name, but
it is
don't
great.
Underachieve.
It is great. So some notable events, just a couple cool things that have happened. Want to touch on is the Michigan in Mass Tier 2.
Yep.
A clean
Nasty
Michigan too. I think we've had some
some
bobbly Michigans before. I was a victim of one
fluid.
once, but that was a clean Michigan.
You don't see that every day.
Yeah, Tyler Warilla of the Ice. First year, I think, playing in the NBHL. I knew he used to be a stud player on the Saints back in the day. I remember him going against us, maybe the Blackhawks too, in the men's A circuit. And he was amazing back then. And that was just sick. Like,
sounds like we've been missing out on 5 years of Michigans from him.
Yeah. We'll see what his ratio of Michigans is to games.
As it stands right now, you were expecting 2 more Michigans this year, right?
Yeah, I'd say so. But yeah, that was fun. That was a very fun goal. Then the next story, Mario Hughes in Georgia Tier 3. So this guy played his first ever organized ball hockey games in the NBHL opening weekend in Georgia. Played 2 games, scored 12 goals in 2 games.
God. Is he an ice hockey guy?
I don't really know, but I know he's named after Mario Lemieux.
Really? I mean, all right, living up to the hype.
Yeah, and he's got his whole family on his team too. It's a very cool story.
Were they 12 goals 12 different ways, you think?
Maybe. Yeah, I guess we'd have to do a little bit of a deep dive here to see, but
there's got to be one duplicate in there.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the highlights from his games, and he sniped a couple bombs. He had an assist that was really nice. He's just, the guy's legit.
Rookie of the year.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be.
Yeah,
he's got to be. Yeah, and then Midwest and Pacific Northwest Division have finally started. They were our last 2 divisions to go, so they play the weekend of May 31st, June 1st. Pacific Northwest, we've got 4 teams. They're playing in Winthrop, Washington, at the most beautiful rink we've ever had games in.
Really?
It is incredible. We're going to have to try to get them to get some pictures and content from that place because it is surreal to look at. It's overlooking the mountains. Yeah, it's incredible. So they're starting, and then the Midwest are playing in Palatine, where we've had the Chicago division the past couple years. They've got teams from Georgia, from Detroit, from Ohio. Kind of a mix of the Indiana division, some teams that used to play in the Detroit division back in the day, new teams from out a little more west in St. Louis. So to see what happens there. That's the Tier 1, 2, 3 hybrid. We explained that in our last podcast, I believe, if you want more information on how that works. It's a little chaotic. But there are last 2 divisions to get going. And then lastly here, definitely not least, is the announcement for NBHL Niagara.
Yes.
Finally doing it. We've been talking with groups in there for a long time. Multiple groups, multiple people, multiple parties trying to make it work. Finally found a way to make it happen, and just really excited to get something going out there. There's so many players that already play in the NBHL from Niagara that drive over the border to play in Buffalo. So now we can give them something at their home rink. We're looking to host that at the Hague Bowl, which is, you played there. It's really nice, right?
Yeah, it's a really nice rink. I know they had laid down deck when we went and played at Clash. It's a weird, coming up to the rink, you don't think it's a hockey rink, and then you pull in oh my God, there's a whole rink here. But they've got a really nice row of bleachers for sitting in. They got locker rooms. And I mean, the atmosphere was great when we were at Clash. So hoping that we get the same thing for these NBHL games.
Yeah, so that's the plan right now. We're moving forward with NBHL Niagara. The goal is to play at the Hague Bowl. A lot of moving parts, a lot of things we got to do to finalize it all when it comes terms to like, teams and all the, nitty gritty stuff. But we're there. We're going to make it happen. We're very excited for this.
Welcome.
But that's about everything. Do we get any questions?
Yeah, we did.
We did? All right, what do we got, Teach?
Let's see.
Hit us.
So we posted on Instagram questions, which we haven't done in a while.
Yeah,
and I'm going to pull them up.
So we did it right when we started recording. So
we have three questions.
Okay, we got 3.
We have 3.
Let's go.
What do you think is the key to winning in the NBHL? From B Winix. Wow. Loaded question.
What a bomb.
Well,
I mean, I've never won it, so I don't really know.
Not winning the NBHL, winning in the NBHL.
I think from a team manager perspective, it's like making sure that you have a full squad of guys showing up every week. I think there's some teams that
roster management.
Yeah, there's some teams that are just like throwing guys on rosters who aren't sure if they're going to show up, and they come up and it's they're short men on game day, men or women on game day. So just being able to make sure that you're getting guys who are committed and want to do this and play, I think goes a long way.
Yeah, if people aren't showing up, you don't have a chance. Like you can win a single game, but long term, it's just not gonna play out. I'd say that's the main thing. I mean, it's also having depth. I think making sure you've got. Again, it's kind of the same situation you're talking about. Like you can't run your top players into the ground. You've got to have players 2-3 lines that can really, make a difference out there and go out there and make a play. So building a team with depth that's committed is the long-term way. And then goalies. I think goalies is just, if you don't have a goalie you can depend on, it's just impossible.
Yeah.
Defense wins championships for sure.
I mean, I think that we're a little spoiled in New Jersey. I think that we have a lot of talented goaltenders in our tier 1. So I feel like the goaltending, like you're getting a really good goalie anywhere you go in our New Jersey tier 1. But if you go to, if your division has a top guy, and everyone knows, okay, this is the best goalie, that team is probably going to win most of the games if you have a clear cut number 1 guy.
Yeah, and if you're just losing, just be better and win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, scoring. I've heard a rumor I heard is that scoring more goals than your opponent,
I saw something
you
about
win the
that,
game most of the time.
Yeah, I saw some research on that.
Yeah.
We're going to have the math guys check that one out. But
Yeah. We got a lot of work for them.
Which tier 3 division is the strongest? We do have 2 of the 3 national titles here in Carolina, which we spoke about earlier. This question was from Frank Lazzi.
I mean, pretty hard to argue with two of the 3 tier 3 champions.
It's really tough to go against what Carolina tier 3 has been able to do.
And just like terms of volume, like Pittsburgh, or Pittsburgh and Jersey, just a ton of teams. So it's,
Yeah, our Long Island tier 3 is really strong. They're another area that I'm hoping we can get a tier 2 in next year. I mean, Carolina is one that I'd like to push up to having a tier 2 next year. Yeah. North Jersey is a really strong one. They won it all last year. There's just so many, like tier 3 of 120 teams. It's so tough to pick which one is the strongest. Like there's some we don't even know yet, like Midwest, we don't know. Pacific Northwest, we don't know how they're going to look this year. So there's a lot of strong tier 3s. California, the top teams in California tier 3 are really good. So, I mean, it's tough to say, but based on data, it has to be Carolina, right?
You're right, Frank. Congrats.
Yeah. Wow. Well done.
All right. This next one, I don't know if we want to do this, but who's your starting line in ball hockey right now? 5 and attendee.
5 and attendee. I'm taking...
Where's the elite draft order?
I'm taking Riley Rudolph, Jack Rhodes, Will Bannock, Dom DeVito, and Nick DeVito for the Tortugas, and then Gianni in that.
You sure you want to put me in it? Nick DeVito has some goalie experience if you want to swap me out.
Should we do this question, actually? I don't know. Yeah, I feel like we shouldn't do that one.
It was from Kill Course, so sadly.
Sorry, Killer.
Yeah, sorry, Killer.
Or we could do the gag where we bleep out all the names.
Just like go through each of our 5 and it's just
it's
beep, 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 beep.
No, let's not. That's probably way too much work.
All right. Well,
All right. Well, in replace of that, we have a question from.
Oh, hold up. We got a new question.
We have a new question from Anonymous.
Live.
Coming in live? Is it coming in right now?
Yeah, Anonymous. Wow. Gianni, who's your favorite team on the Mariners thus far?
Favorite team?
Teammate.
Teammate. I'm really excited to play with my goaltending partner, Cliffy. I've played against him a lot. He came down, probably one of the most dedicated performances I've ever seen. He drove from where he lives up north. He's in Massachusetts or New England? Rhode Island. He drove down to play one game against us last year for the Nice Watch. And I feel bad because we beat them 1-0. He played an incredible game. He won one goal and still lost. But I played against him there. I played against him a lot in Men's, so I'm excited to be a goaltending partner with him for the first time.
There you go.
Yeah, I love Cliffy. Cliffy's the man.
All right. I think that will wrap up our episode of the Commish Chat Podcast. You know where to find us. Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, or Apple Podcasts, rather. Make sure to subscribe. Hit that like button. And we'll catch you next time.
Done.
Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you. Go Mariners.